Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, so I remember I share and subscribe. Join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories are talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, monsters, and welcome to Monsters on the Edge on the Untold Radio Network. I am your host, Barnaby Jones. Today's show is coming to you pre-recorded. My original guest this week had a accident, and we'll be rescheduling. So we are here today with one of my other future guests that happen to be recording this week as well. So we are here. We have Mark Mills joining the show in just a minute here. It's going to be a great show out of Ohio. So first off, guys, we have some cool new merchandise from Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Society up on our TeePublic page. You can get some new shirts and all kinds of stuff over there. Head on over to wisconsincaps.com, click on Shop Our Store, and you can find all kinds of new merchandise with our logos and such if you want to show your support for all things here on Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. Coming up, guys, also, you can show your support. Head on over to patreon.com. Click on patreon.com/Wisconsin Caps. You can watch the first season of On the Trail of Undiscovered Beasts there, exclusively there, or on Paraflix Paranormal Plus. It's just $3 a month, and you can show your support for all things that we do there as well. Coming up, guys, also remind you that we are going to be part of My Haunted Hometown on TNE. Our 2 episodes with Rick and Barbara's house will be debuting October 18th, and the one we shot with Bean Snappers will be debuting October 25th. So make sure you guys go check that out. On October 19th, coming up here really quick, it's the start of our Halloween season, Milwaukee Paracon, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tickets are free. I'm going to be a speaker there at this event, and it's going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Head on over to AmericanGhostWalks.com or MilwaukeeParacon.com or WisconsinCaps.com. Click on the public events page. We have our annual live Halloween special coming to you from YouTube and Facebook October 27th. Head on over to Wisconsin Cap's Facebook page for more information. We are going to be at the Bell City Paracon in November in Wisconsin. We are going to be at CryptidCon in Lexington, Kentucky in November. We are going to be back in Wisconsin November 30th in Fond du Lac at Solon Synergy Expo. And all October long, you can find me at libraries all over Wisconsin. Head over to wisconsincaps.com, click on the public events page, and you can get all the information there. All right, that's all out of the way. If you want to show your support for all things here at the Untold Radio Network, here's how.
Hey, Untold Radio Network fans. Want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
All right, guys, our guest today is Mark Mills. He is from Trenton, Ohio. He has been hot and heavy on Bigfoot's trail since his first encounter in 1998 in the Wayne National Forest. He has seen the creatures 3 times and has over 33 encounters where sticks and rocks were flying at him. He has also had a lot of pictures on his Facebook page, Buckeye Sasquatcher, and he has been on the set of Finding Bigfoot Season 2, episode 15, and numerous podcasts like the mnbrt, Sasquatch Chronicles, and Creek Devil. He is also featured in the book written by SHARON EBY, Bigfoot Beyond Belief, and is in the works of being in another new book as well. He plans to keep up research until he dies. Awesome. So please welcome to the show, Mark Mills. Welcome to the show, man.
All right. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, pretty good for a Tuesday night.
Nice. Absolutely. It is warm here in Wisconsin. So
pretty toasty here too.
Yeah.
Got up to 88 today.
Ooh, man. I love Ohio. I gotta be honest. I mean, I'm a big fan of haunted houses and zoos, and Ohio has like the most per capita haunted houses and zoos of any state. So if I wasn't in Wisconsin, I would probably be in Ohio. So
there you go.
You got it made over there. Plus, you have a ton of Sasquatch over there as well, I hear, and a lot of big cool events going on there. So what got you all started? Obviously your first encounter, but what happened with that? Let's start there.
Well, actually, it started way before that. Back in the 70s, they had a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek. Mm-hmm. And that kind of is like I was a young kid going, wow, I didn't know they had monsters in the woods. So, and at that time I lived in Hawaii and I traveled. I went to Maryland, then I moved to Louisiana. And then I went to service, blah, blah, blah. All that, I just kept moving. I finally ended up in Ohio. I had a buddy say, well, let's go camping. We're going to go down here to Wayne National Forest. And I'm like, cool, I'm all in because I never camped in Ohio. So we go down there to Gallia County down that way in Wayne National Forest. And we went camping in this overhang. It's the first time I ever camped in Ohio. We're out in the boonies. We're camping out and the vent just kept turning from there. Like he passes out around midnight. And then from there, it just proceeds to go on. This creature just started harassing us. Well, he was sleeping. He had no clue, but I was up all night. And the first thing it did was it picked up like it sounded like the end of a tree and just, bam, slammed it on the earth to get my attention. Like, well, that got my attention. So I started looking around there. And back in them days in the 90s, you didn't have all these LED flashlights and we didn't have none of this high-tech stuff. All we had was like a 2D cell flashlight battery. 2D cell battery flashlight. You ain't see it too far. Or an old-fashioned pump-up lantern. But anyways, as the story goes, the next thing it did was it broke a branch. and what I mean by a branch was like about, I don't know, it was about 3 or 4 inches at least, and you just snap, and I'm like, what was that? So I'm listening, and then the story just goes on. It's a long story. I could be here over an hour, but that's where I say if you go to Creek Devil and listen to episode, whatever I had on there, 142, I believe it is, and you can hear the whole that first encounter. It's just a long, drawn out 3-day story, but the moral of the story was on that encounter was a creature mimicked my name. That freaked me out when a creature mimics your name 6 times, and he came 3 nights in a row, and and we finally left after the 3rd night because it was a 3-day weekend, and that was my first encounter with the creature. That one was like, I can't remember, 7 foot tall, a color of a Cocker Spaniel blonde dog. What freaked me out was the shoulders were 4 feet wide and the arms were 2. The arms were like the size of 2 of my legs coming down just off of one side. This thing was massive. And that freaked me out. And that was my first encounter. And then I went back again. I went like that was in May, I believe. And I went back June, July, August. Didn't have none. September, I had another encounter. This time, actually, I'm sorry, I got back up. I got it backwards. The first encounter, all I ever saw was eyes 8 foot off the ground and the thing mimicked my name. I never did see that creature. The second creature was the second one I saw. That was the one that was 7 foot tall, blonde color hair, 4 foot wide shoulders, come down kind of tapered to the chest, but I couldn't see below the butt because of the undergrowth. And that one, after I spotted it, squatted down into a crouch position. So I ran back to get my shotgun because I'm in the boonies, and it freaked me out. When I run back out, it was gone that quick. Never did hear it take off, seen it. That was the second encounter in the same place.
All right. Well, let's hold on here. So let's go back to your first encounter here. So when you went out camping, were you going out there to Bigfoot, or
no, we went out just to
where was
camp.
Bigfoot on your radar there? Because
no, there was no Bigfoot on the radar. We were going to camp just to enjoy a camp out, and I bought a new shotgun, a used shotgun. My buddy bought a new 45. So that's the main reason we were going, is go camping in the middle of nowhere, shoot our weapons, to see how they function. Because mine was a used shotgun. His was a new 45 he got for the prior year at Christmas. So that's mainly why we went there, to try out the guns, camp out, eat good, have a guy's weekend away from girls. You know how that goes. Just a guy's weekend out, but it turned into something else my very first camp out. So I wasn't looking for the critter, but it found me for sure. And it's a long story. You just have to go that, or you can even go to the BFRO. I can't remember. It's in Gallia County. You have to look for that, and you can read it there on the BFRO's website. There's like 2 or 3 of them I got in Gallia County, Ohio. And if you go read them, you'll see a lot more stuff, because I've been researching ever since that weekend where it scared the pee out of me, mimicking my name. The first year or 2, I just had a vendetta go shoot one because it scared me so bad. That's all I did was go look for one to kill it. And then after a couple of years, I started learning, well, it might be the other way around. They might kill me after doing all this research and being in the field and doing all this. I'm like, well, it's not good to be by yourself tromping through the woods wanting to kill one of these just for a vendetta. So I kind of gave up that idea. I'm more into, what are they? That's my big thing, is what are they? Why are they here? And what are they for? That's the main thing I guess a lot of us want to know. But another strange fact with these creatures are 35% encounters occur a day before or an after a UFO's been in the area. So what is the connection? See, a lot of people don't discuss that, but that's facts. What that's about, I don't know. Is there a connection? I don't know. That's what keeps me going, is research. And the only way we're all going to find out is to work together and not fight. That's why I don't belong to none of these groups. In the beginning, I was with a couple guys, but then things got a little crazy and they went their way and I went mine. So I kind of been on my own. I know a lot of people in the field. I research with a lot of researchers, but I kind of do my own thing because that way there's nobody wanting to fight. There's no bosses. There's no politics per se. I just go out and do research. My brother-in-law goes with me a lot, and that's what we do. We just go out and we do our thing. You know what I mean? That's what I do as of today. But between now and my first encounter, I've had a third encounter at Salt Fork State Park. We saw a juvenile, me and my wife. We were going down. There's a place called the Stone House. And after September, it closes down. So basically, there's nobody around. And we're going down. It's like a dog leg road that comes down from this hill, dog legs to the left. And then you end up in the parking lot where the stone house they built back in 1900, right around the time they dammed up the lake, because it was really just a creek through there. And Salt Fork State Park was made by damming up the creek to make a lake. And I think it's the only lake in Ohio they use for the Bass Pro tournament, too. It's a pretty big area. But out there, a lot of stuff goes on at Salt Fork. There's been UFO sightings, Bigfoot sightings, crypto, dogman. They found, how do you find a baboon head out in the way at Salt Fork State Park? They actually found a baboon head out there. That's pretty wild years ago. They said there's no mountain lion out there. That's a false farce because I seen a mountain lion out there at the state park, and this thing was huge. He wasn't a little one. He or she was huge. I could probably ride. It was so big, but that's here nor there. But at Salt Fork is loaded with Bigfoot. A lot of stuff happens out at that place. It's a lot of Indians in the past. It's like the biggest state park in Ohio. I can take you on the Orange Loop and get you the poop scared out of you because they're back there on the Orange Loop. I don't tell many people, but now I'm broadcasting it with you, so they're going to be running back to the Orange Loop. Back there, because people hear of Hozak Caves. Well, if you go past Hozak Caves, there's a point goes way back there, and they're living back there. I can tell you numerous stories goes on back there. One time we had the earth shaking from one. It was that big. It was literally coming after us. And whenever it put a foot down, it literally was shaking the ground. So I believe this dude had to be 9 or 10 foot tall. That's no lie. That was scary that night. But yeah, they're out there. Ohio, like I say, people don't know this. It's number 6 in the nation for sightings. Ohio has a lot of unclaimed strip land, a lot of wilderness that's coming back. A lot of the conservancies buying land up, trying to turn everything back to the wilderness, which they're doing a good job. There's a lot of places in Ohio for the land because a lot of people own lots of land and they don't go on it. So these creatures travel through here. They kind of have their own little areas to go. They know where to go, when to go. They know where to travel. They follow the water, like they say. And they're not dumb, because if they were dumb, they'd already be in the zoo. That's one point right there. That's a big point. If they were a dumb animal, they'd be in the zoo. That's one point. That's all I'm going to say. It also takes hands to throw rocks and sticks. What other creature other than humans roaming the woods in America that can throw sticks and rocks? Is that a deer, a squirrel? That's what I always say. I laugh. Something out there's got one of these right here, folks. See that? And it's bipedal. And not only that, but there's also like 3 species of these creatures, all right? There's the patty species, which Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed, right? Then there's the one that looks like a caveman. It looks just like a prehistoric caveman. They got that type. And then they got the third type, which a lot of people don't talk about. It's the dog man, which has got a wolf head on a Bigfoot body, all right? Just imagine that, a wolf head on a Bigfoot body, okay? And that's around here in the Great Lakes region. I ain't seen one because I believe if I do, I'm going to be just unloading on it. I ain't going to play with the dog man. I ain't going to mess with a Bigfoot or the other critter, but a dog man would probably enough for me to go off. Yeah. Because I'm sure I would panic on that. But other than that, it'd be all right. I don't want to shoot the creatures. I'm a believer. I'm a knower. I've seen them. If you want to see them, you just contact me on Mark Mills at yahoo.com and say, hey, man, I'd like to go out with you sometime. I'll take you out some spots out here. Yeah, they're real. They run around my mountain down in Adams County. They're down there too. They're all over. You just got to know where to go. And they're not always in the same area. And you're not always going to have, it's like fishing. You're not always going to catch fish, right? You go out and do your research. I don't know how many nights I got out and nothing ever happened. You hear the crickets, you fall asleep. It's so boring. Nothing's going on. After a couple hours, like, I'm out of here. But then there's other times where there's just activity galore. I mean, one night we went out at Salt Fork alone, and there was activity all over that park. We couldn't believe it. We go different spots, and there was activity going on. For one example, up at the handicap picnic area, we was up there one night. Me and two other guys I researched with are M&Ms, all I'm going to say, all right? They're good friends and all, but me and one of the M's were up there one night, and we jumped the small one because it started taking off running. And if you ever imagine Bozo the Clown feet hitting the ground going flop, 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 flop. That's what this thing did. It took off running going flop, 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 flop. Its feet were so big. We're like, what the? I got it on video, but the only thing you can hear is the sound because it's pitch dark and I didn't have no night vision. But you could actually hear the flop, 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 flop. And then we left that area and went down to by Hozak's Cave where all kind of stuff happens. And we parked in the parking lot. And we started messing with them over there by doing, the stuff that you might see on all these shows. I'm not going to mention all the stuff I do because I just don't want nobody to go out and get hurt and do stuff I don't want to do. But we call them in. And they start throwing rocks out into the lake. I ain't kidding, like big rocks, sound like bowling ball. Bloop. We're like, wow. And then they start throwing the rocks and they're hitting the parking lot because there's a blacktop and you hear them come through the trees and actually hit the parking lot, the rocks. And we were hiding on the front of the cars where the cars were facing the lake and we'd be sitting on the front of them. So, we didn't want to get hit by no rocks because they love throwing rocks. Like I said, you got to have one of these to throw rocks, people. You got to have one of these to throw sticks, okay? What critter does that? A deer, a horse? No. It's something, all right? And what I saw, the creatures I've seen are real, okay? I've seen a 3-foot tall one down by the stone house. That one was a juvenile, about 4 foot tall. And me and the wife saw, we're like, what are we looking at? And this thing's like 4 foot tall, and it was all black. And we're like, ding, ding, ding. And what was sucked was I had my camera in my hand. All I had to do is hit record, and I would have got the little dude. But I'm sitting there freaking out going, what is that? Because, your brain is trying to comprehend, no clothes, all black. And then when it registered to me, it just shot off to my right. It shot off to my right, ran in this valley and back up the hill somewhere. So I'm sure Mama was around there somewhere, which I didn't want to see her. But this thing ran so fast, I kid you not, it ran like 20, 25 miles, just shot off. And all I can tell you about the face, I saw it from the side, and on that guy, it looked like a guy, it didn't look female, but of course I didn't have front shot. But it's like 4.5 foot tall, all black, and the face looked like a human, an ape, and a chimpanzee all rolled into one. That's what it looked like. That was wild. And it just shot off, and and that was just one time I seen the little. That's the third time I actually physically saw him with my eyes. And then, like I said, I've been out over 33 times where I either had a stick or rock thrown at me. But that's going out in the woods probably 300 times for that happens. See what I'm saying? Because that's what I do. I go out. Sometimes it's like fishing. Nothing happens. Other times you're loading up. And that's just the way it goes because you never know where they're at. They're always moving. That's another reason we can't pinpoint them. They're only in the area for a short time. They're moving on. And now, as far as their territory, nobody knows. I mean, if we knew that, we'd know more about them, right? But there's just so much to these things. They're not dumb. They love deer meat. They love, who knows what else. They might love flesh, human flesh. I'm not sure on that. Up in Alaska, Fred Roll's been talking a lot about the creatures up there are totally violent compared to down here in the lower 48. I mean, here maybe down in Texas area, Louisiana border, they're really violent there too. But for the most part, you see them, they see you, everybody goes the opposite way, pretty much. They just don't like people, that's the thing. They don't like us. They want to be left alone, pretty much what I get about them. So I pretty much don't press them too hard. There's times I've been out at Wayne National Forest and one night, and it was me, M. It was us three, and they actually pushed 2 trees down in the same night. There was no wind. It was calm. We were doing our stuff, setting them off. Once you set them off, man, they start throwing rocks and pushing trees. I'm telling you, that's what I do. I like getting emotion out. But thank you, Jesus, I ain't been killed yet.
Yeah.
For all the times I've been out there, I think the Lord protects me for that. But I'm trying to figure out what they are. That's why I do my research. It's all about research. If we all work together instead of fighting, sorry, my screen went off on there. If we all stick together and started, instead of fighting on this stuff, we can all learn from each other. Like Fred Roll in subarctic Alaska, he gets emails and just from the natives and just tells you exactly what's going on. There's also a guy in Canada. He's really good at howtohunt.com is I gotta think of the feller's name right now. It's always on tip of my tongue, but he gets emails and blabs them right back out exactly word for word too. There's no want me to be a star. He doesn't want nothing to be with anybody. He just reached the truth. It's at howtohunt.com. I'm trying to think of the feller's name. I can't think of it right now. But anyways, check him out. He's a Canadian guy, does a good job up there. He's a big hunter up there is what he does. He's a guide hunter and a guide fisherman. And he just, when he gets time, he just tells you what people send him all over the world. It can be from Australia, America, wherever. But he gives you straight up too. But that's about the only 2 people I would listen to as far as, just to listen to everyday emails from everyday people, because a lot of people want to go in here and just be 15 minutes of fame. I just do it because I do it with my heart, because I'm trying to figure out what these things are, right? And if we all work together and everybody share what they know, we might get further down the trail on this thing instead of being divisive. Because there's like 3 groups of this stuff. You got like the woo, you got like flesh and blood, and then you got the people on the other side like me that just, hey man, I seen them. I know they're real. I say they're flesh and blood. But again, people say they have mystical powers. I ain't seen a mystical power. If I ever do, I'll say, hey, I've seen a mystical power. All I've ever seen has always been a flesh and blood contact, whatever. Especially what's terrifying is hear them scream like a woman. There's 2 times they got me with my britches down because I had my recorder and it wasn't on. And they let out a scream, and let me tell you, brother, it sounds like a woman dying when they go off. It's just terrifying. But they also do like wood knocks. You think it's wood knocks. I never seen them do it. Rock on rock, I've heard that. But people also claim they use their jaw like that to do some sounds. And that's a good possibility also. I'm not discounting. I don't discount nothing these critters do. One night I whistled, one whistled right back. Same whistle. That was shocking. That was at Salt Fork State Park. Everybody's like, GD, did you hear that? I'm like, yeah, that was that was a shocker. You just never know what they're going to do. One time we were researching at Salt Fork State Park. We were staying in my pop-up camper, and it was like a Easter weekend. There's only 2 families, us and another group. And we'd go out researching, right? Every morning, we were there for a 3-day Easter weekend, whatever, but every morning about 5:30, something would come over the corner. The first night I was up, the other guy, the M guy, he took a aspirin with sleeping medicine. He was out. And it got by the corner of my pop-up and just shook the piss out like, and I was like, what? And then it quit. And actually, it felt good because we were hiking all night. It kind of put me to sleep. So I ain't gonna run outside and look. I'm just going back to sleep. Well, the funny thing was the next morning I took a sleeping pill, and my buddy was up. Same thing, about the same time, about 5:30, because we get in like 3 or 4. It's like it followed us. It's trying to wait. It must have knew we were going to sleep. I heard a snore. Again, same thing about the same time. Except this time I'm out, and my buddy's, Mark, Mark, Mark. And I'm out, and he's like, well, I'm just staying in here. I ain't moving. And I said, okay, we're going to make a new plan, right? What we're going to do on the third morning when he shakes it, we're both going to run out with our mace and camera and see if we can get something. Well, the third morning it shook it. We're like, we ain't getting up because we hiked all day like an 8-miler gruesome back there on the Orange Loop. It wore us out. We're like, like I said, it was putting us to sleep. We let him shake us all day. But yeah, that was our plan. We never made it out there. We were so wore out. But that was amazing. 3 days in a row, God's honest truth, it would shake my pop-up. Something did. I never figured that one out. And it had to be a creature because the back corner where it was shaking, the first night actually lifted up the tent, the corner of the tent. So like it had to grab it and doing something. That's how I know whatever it was grabbing it. But I didn't have a camera again out there. I wish I'd have put a game camera out after the first night. And then nothing would have probably happened. That's another thing people don't know. Game cameras, put them up. If you have problems with these things around your place, put up game cameras. They don't like it. Another thing to do is lights. They don't like lights. So buy you some of these D-cell motion sensor security lights. They're like $35 a crack. Put them out around your place. They don't like movement. They don't like lights. They don't like cameras. They definitely don't like dogs. We were at the handicap one night at Salt Fork. We were at the handicap picnic area. And that night we were sitting up there with a couple other researchers. I don't know who they were. I know who they were. I just can't remember. But they were like from Virginia. They were with us that night. Excuse me. They was with us that night. And you could hear where they were letting beagles out to like let them go coon hunt. They were at like 2 different groups of coon hunters. You could hear them out there for a couple hours. Burr, 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 all these dogs. So anyways, after a couple hours, they rounded up all the dogs. They got quiet. Except for one beagle was coming around the lake. You could hear him coming off in the distance. Burr, burr. Then get a little closer, get a little louder. Woof, woof. Is a beagle. He's coming. So I walked over to the edge because where the handicap picnic ground is way up on this hill. And it's probably 150 yards down to the lake from up there. It's kind of up in the hill through the woods. So I was just getting ready to holler for this dog. And all of a sudden you heard, burp, burp. Then you just heard, thump. Like something took a big boulder and just whacked the dog. Just bump. And after that, there was no more dog. And I wanted to go down there the next morning, but we had to pack up because I live like 3.5 hours away. It's a long ride. So the time we get broke down on the pop-up, get down the highway, your day's spent. But I really wanted to go back the next day and look for that poor dog or see if I could find any evidence. But that's just one incident. See, I can sit here for hours and hours and just go on and go on.
Wow, yeah. So
they hate dogs, man. I can tell you, they hate dogs. That's why they thump them out. They hate dogs. Dogs give them away. I think that's why they hate them so bad. Dogs say, hey, over here, and they just, oh, you give me away, I'm going to pay you back. Thump. That's what I think. After all the years, that's what I fear is they just hate dogs. I ain't never heard nothing good with dogs with Bigfoot.
So you were talking about like not, you believe that these things are then flesh and blood. You haven't had any kind of paranormal experiences or anything with them. Have you ever seen?
As far as that goes, what I've seen with my eyes, like I said, with my eyes, I've seen flesh. They're flesh and blood to me.
Have you ever seen anything else weird, like orbs of light or anything else?
Yeah, we've seen a couple orbs out in Salt Fork State Park. I personally didn't see it. The other guys with me did because I was busy doing something else, and they saw it rolling down the hill. And matter of fact, after that orb is when something come rolling down. It sounded like a refrigerator being pushed down the mountainside right after that. I don't know what it was, but it sounded like they were pushing a refrigerator down the side of the hill, and then it just got quiet, and that was it. That was a weird night that night. Another time we was parked outside the state park, Salt Fork, and we was at this other little parking area. And there's about 4 guys in front of my truck, and me and this other researcher, his name's Nat Man, it's one of my buddies. And we were behind my truck. And off on the woods on the hill over here, all you heard was moo. Now, what kind of creature does a cow moo in the middle of nowhere? And there's no cow, but it did a moo. And we're like, what? And that's not the only time we heard it. We also heard it in the park one time, way out in the boonies, another moo. I'm like, what the? So I don't know what that means, but that's one of the things that creatures like to do is mimic anything.
I've actually heard that exact same thing.
Yeah.
They'll moo out of nowhere.
Yeah, moo. Another time I heard one trying to act like an owl. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm like, that wasn't no owl. I don't know what that was, but that wasn't no owl. And then another time we were at American Electric Powerlands, south of Columbus, a couple hours or two. And one night we was out there, and I bet there was 15 owls. These owls don't congregate, but one night there was like 15 of them out in the woods, and they were all doing whoo hoo hoo hoo. I'm like, I've never heard barred owls all congregate like that ever, whatever kind of owl was. Usually, you might hear 1 or 2 owls, but this night there's like 15 to 20. Oh, I never heard nothing like that. So I don't know if that was a group of them moving through there. I don't know what that was about. I'm sorry, my dog's over here bothering me for a second. Name's Lucy. Right. There's Lucy, everybody.
Hi, Lucy.
We say Lucy. She was a foxhound. My neighbor died in the woods, and she lived out in the woods for a year. And one day, you think out of 19 people have their hands out in the man's estate, somebody take 2 dogs. No, they just want the money. So the dog been living in the woods for over a year, eating just field corn and dirt. She's a Macy about to die, and I saved her. But anyway, that was Lucy. But anyways, to get back to it, yeah, these creatures do all kind of stuff, man. I've seen eye shine. I've seen red eyes. I've seen blue eyes. I've seen black eyes. I've had them throw pebbles, little pebbles. We'd be like, before they turned it into a campground and called it Bigfoot Ridge at Salt Fork, it used to be just like a little campground area. And we were all sitting right out there one night. It was me, Terry, and Treba. They were on Monster Quest. If you ever seen Monster Quest, Terry and Treba, and they did the episode of Salt Fork where they talk about their encounter. Well, we were sitting there one night, me, him, and Terry and Treba, and you could hear them throwing little pebbles bouncing off my Jeep. They were throwing like pebbles, I don't know, just bouncing them off my Jeep. And then we heard one off to our right. It must have tripped over a tree because it fell, and all of a sudden you heard a boom hit the ground, and then the thing got up, and it was like we were getting surrounded, and we just packed up and left that night because they were just starting to surround us. When we start to get surrounded, it's time to go. I don't know what they're up to at that point.
Why do you think they're throwing pebbles and rocks at you?
Oh, at that night? I think they were just messing with it. Oh, why they throw rocks?
Well, like specifically, like at you, like are they trying to ward you off? Do you think that they're trying to get your attention, or
I think a lot of it's to say, get out of here. You're in my area. That's like I said, they don't want to be disturbed. And when you go in their house, guess what? You set them off. They want you out. That's what I think half of this stuff is they just don't want to be bothered. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think the other half, they're trying to find food, and they sleep during the day and they're out hunting at night. Basically, they're basically moving around more at night than the day.
Have you had any encounters during the day? Have you had rocks thrown and stuff out in Ohio there?
Let me think about this in the day. Let's see, rocks in the day. It's mainly been nighttime, sticks and rocks, daytime. They like pushing trees down and pushing trees. They stay out of the distance here, but they'll push a tree on you if they get a chance. Yeah, I ain't had many rocks and sticks during the day. It's that, yeah, actually, let me back up. I have had them throw them during the day. I was hiking out one day, and one of them threw a rock, and it missed my head by, I'm guessing, that an inch. It threw it. It hit the tree right next to me. Bah! And when it did, I squatted down real quick. And that time I had a video camera, and I just started filming everything. I never found it. I went back home and tried to dissect the video. I never found it. I don't know how it did that and hid that quick. Another incident, bud. This is strange. Me and that man were standing, and this was at Salt Fork, and this was like downhill from the handicap camp or the handicap picnic area. Because you go downhill, we were down there, and me and that man were standing about 10 feet apart looking at each other. And all of a sudden, this rock comes out of nowhere, straight down and lands right between both of us, bam, right in the ground. And we looking at each other going, what? And we looked all around that day and couldn't find nothing either. Another time we were hiking down by the handicap picnic on another occasion, and we were coming up the hill, and it sounded like this thing had a bat, like you were at a baseball game and hit a home run crack, just bam, but I mean like twice as loud, just like crack, like it hit a home run, like knocking a ball here to China, that kind of a crack. It was just massive crack. And we both hit the ground. Me and this mic researcher guy, we bam, hit the ground. And we looked around because, I mean, it was close, but we never saw it. They do stuff sometimes broad daylight. We never see them. I don't know how they do it. Now, there is a case where this lady in Northeast Ohio, she filmed something. She was in her deer stand, right, up by, where was that at? It's Northwest Ohio. She was in her deer stand, and there's a band playing at the school way over there. And she's in her deer stand, and this thing looked like a predator come by. And she had it on her camera on, and it was invisible. And also at that same time, there was a UFO flying around over the school band that was playing down the road. And I'm like, wow, what was that about? But this is the second time now I've heard about an invisible entity in the woods. Well, actually, third one now. There's two other videos, if you look for them, if you can find them, where these invisible things going through the woods. Like one time you see the trees moving, there's nothing there. I mean, I don't know what's going on out in the woods here. But that can be anywhere. You know, there's just so much goes on out there. We don't know everything. It's just like the bottom of the ocean. We don't know what's down there. There's just places we don't know yet. Just like found a coelacanth fish. Oh, this is a dinosaur. It doesn't exist, but they found one in Madagascar. So there's just so much stuff goes on we don't know about. And, you know, we extinct so many creatures a year, and they find so many a year. It's just crazy. I don't know. But the topic itself is just crazy. That's what keeps me going till I die. I want to find out what it is, how to get here, how to evolve. You know, what is it? We need a body. That's the bottom line. We need a body. And that's what I try to do, is find that piece of body without killing one. I just go hiking and hope one day, hey, maybe good luck, maybe not, maybe never. You just never know.
So your first encounter, going back all the way to that, you were out there to test out your guns and stuff like that. So you're out there before you had the encounter that night. Presumably, were you shooting that day and stuff?
What happened was we got there that Friday night, and my buddy pops off his 45. Pop, 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 pop. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, it works. I go, well, duh. Why are you just shooting a gun at night? Oh, no. He was just that cookie to shoot it. Me, I didn't care about my shotgun, so I wait till the morning. So what happened was, after we got there, it was probably about 2 in the morning, and the time we got settled in was about 4 in the morning, because we had to drive from Columbus, Ohio, all the way down to Wayne National Forest, about 3. Where we went was like a 3-hour and 45-minute ride one way. And that ain't counting stopping for groceries, eating, because the time we got down, there's like 2 in the morning, time we got settled, 4 in the morning. As the sun's coming up, that's when I got my shotgun. We made breakfast about 8, and then that's when, after I ate, I started shooting my shotgun. He started shooting his 45, Well, we run out of ammo. And then we're like, uh-oh, I don't want to stay here without no ammo because I ain't never camped in Ohio. So we had to go ride 20 minutes to the Jackson Lake. There's a little, it used to be, I don't know if it's still there, there's a little fishing store with had ammo, and the guy charged you double what you got in the city. Well, if you don't like it, don't buy them. Like, I'll pay it, man. That's just not right. Because it's like double you got it in town, you know what I'm saying? Like a box of shells, like $30. Like, well, yeah. But anyways, we got us some more shells and some ice and went back. And the rest of the day after we ate, my buddy kept calling me, hey, Mark, over here. Hey, Mark, over here. Hey, Mark, over here. And this creature been watching us ever since we got up. Because that's how it picked up my name. Because my buddy would holler. His name was Greg. He'd say, Mark, over here. And Greg was over there. And so this thing been watching us. So he said he's been going there since he was a kid. This is my first time ever going to his spot. And what it was like this overhang, like 100 yards off a gravel road going straight up a hill. It's an overhang. It looked like the back of a cave was blowed up, a bootlegger's cave back in the day. And this was all that's left was like a 8 foot deep by like 40 foot out, round, perfectly round, like the back of a cave, and the rest of it blowed up. But who knows? It could just been natural, but it's like an overhang. And it's enough where you could put in one of them blow up beds and lay on it under there without a tent. And it was cooler because the rocks were cooler. It was like if you go out 5 foot outside the overhang, it's 90 degrees. You go in the overhang, it's like 75. It's nice. So that's where we was hanging out during the day when it's cool. And then the evenings we go out and walk around. But this thing was watching us. And then that, like I said, that's my first encounter that night. The first thing it did, my buddy Greg was outside chopping wood, and I'm sitting inside the overhang. And that's where, and you come down this 5 foot trail into the overhang from off a trail off to the left. It like drops right into the overhang. And that's where all that commotion started. Like the first thing you heard was the end of a tree being picked up, bam, and then the branch broke. He heard them, but the rest of the night, he just didn't get to hear it all because he'd been drinking beer all day. He's passed out on the cot. That's why the rest of the night, he didn't get to hear all the stuff I did because he was a heavy drinker, and he drank all day. He was gone. I was pumped up with so much adrenaline. I wasn't drinking. I might have had 2 drinks all day. This dude was an alcoholic, is what I'm saying. And so he left me all night dealing with this thing. And then it came back. That's why I said the first thing it started doing after all that, it come back and it ran down the hill one way and up the other hill, never slowed down. A human couldn't do it. And that's how I knew that we had problems. And then it come back another way a couple hours later, the opposite way, up and down the hill, never slowed down. And then it came from top the hill, down the hill. And then it shook a tree. It shook a tree like 30 minutes, like it's basically to me, it's like saying, get out of my woods. That's the way I was taking all of it. It's like saying, get out of my house, basically. And then everybody said, why don't you leave the next morning? I go, I ain't going to drive 3.5 hours back and all this food I had. I'm camping, I ain't going to let something like that scare me. And then it came back the next night, and that's when it was running through the woods because it was our last night there, and his girlfriend come up from Kentucky with their dog, and it must have smelt the dog because it was running through the woods like trying to get the dog. What I was thinking is trying to get the dog chased so it kill the dog. That was just my guess. I could be wrong, but that's the only reason I could figure this thing's running back and forth, making commotion. And then after that, it got quiet most of the night. Like, I don't know what it was doing. I don't know. And then the next morning, the sun come up. My buddy and his girlfriend sleep in a tent. I figure it's safe enough for them. I just packed my stuff because now he can go home with her. And I'm going back to Columbus because I've been up like 3 days straight, 2.5 days straight. So it was just a bad decision. But I made it home, and I slept from like noon to 7 next morning before I had to go to work. I was so exhausted.
Wow. Interesting. So,
and not only to mention, but during that time, it mimicked my name 6 times in a row. It climbed on top of the overhang. A thunderstorm come. You just have to hear the story. It's so long. It just, Thunder came, lightning, the stench I found the next morning going on top of the overhang where it stood, it smelled like rotten vomit. It smelled like rotten meat, stinky dead dog. Right? It's so vile, it makes you want puke because it stinks. And I think they was standing there when the rain come and it washed off right there. And it just stunk bad. It's like a garbage pit smell. It's just nasty, like a dirty garbage can.
So where you go out in South Forks, do they also, you were talking about like the coon hunting out there, they allow hunting in South Fork? Do they do a lot of
different areas they have hunting, but people don't hunt there no more because their dogs end up in the trees. I'm serious. Same thing with East Fork State Park. They don't coon hunt no more because after this one guy found his dog up in a tree with GPS collar, nobody hunts there no more. Them dogs are expensive. We start losing hunting dogs, man. People don't hunt like they used to. You don't have the old timers go out and coon hunt. Many people don't do that no more. That's almost a bygone anymore.
When you go out there, do you do any shooting or anything at all?
I do at my camp sometimes, yeah.
At my camp,
I do. No, at my camp, not at Salt Fork. No.
Well, no. What I was wondering is, like you were trying to put like correlation together here. Is like if you're out there shooting, and like these things are territorial, as you said, like that's possibly why they're throwing rocks at you. If you're out there shooting,
no, they're throwing rocks at me because I go out and mess with them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not because I'm shooting. I go out there and I do stuff that people do supposedly, but I do little different. And what I do is like that meat that what's that messing with Sasquatch. That's what I do. I go out. Yeah, Jack Links. I do Jack Links. I go out and mess with Sasquatch. That's what I do. And I do things to set them off and they come to me. You got to remember, they're like a cat. They'll come to you. You won't know they're there, but they're going to come if you start. That's why a lot of people don't notice them when they're at camps, but they're watching them because they're just out. We're like their TV. They're out watching us. You know what I mean? And they especially like watching women and children because they're not a threat to them like men are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why women and children go missing more than men because they're more prey. There's books out called Missing 411.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever heard of them, and there's 3 movies and 6 books, talks about missing people.
David Politis.
David Politis, that's the guy. Yeah, if you want to learn a lot of stuff, read them books, and don't get them off Amazon. You got to go to, I think it's canammissing.com or something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, it's all about helping everybody out in this field. I write a lot. I like to document a lot. I found footprints. Stick structures is what I key in on. I can find them like the back. I mean, if there's one out there, I'm spotting it because I've been doing it so long. People walk by a lot of stick structures and don't even know it, but I can find them because I've been doing it. If you go to my, like I said, on Buckeye Squatcher on Facebook and look at pictures. Don't look at my page. Just go to my pictures. You'll see a lot of stuff I'm talking about, the stick structures and how they do it and what you're looking for. And I found 2 new ones just when I went to camp the first time this year, right around my cabin, because my neighbor died, so nobody's been there. So they done a lot of timbering, so they just been moving through there because they're following the Ohio River along through there on the ridges. But they go inshore, they follow the Appalachian because the Ohio River and the Appalachian Mountains are there, and they go over there. They're always moving. That's the thing. They're always moving. They're not in the same place. That's the thing.
Yeah, we got the link to your Facebook as well in the show notes for anyone that's interested. You can go click that and check out some of the pictures. I was looking at some of your 6 stick structures that you had on there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. But that's just part of my stuff. Like I say, I got all kind of pictures. Sometimes I sneak into the Bigfoot conference, like out where the vendors are, and I'll mess with people I ain't seen in 10 years because I know so many people in the field. And I'll just pop up there. Hey, look at these pictures. You want to see something or mess with people? But I ain't been there in a while. I like going there, but I'm just too busy on my research working in my place, I love to seeing all the people. But I also talk to a lot of people on Facebook. That's how I keep in touch with a lot of researchers.
Do you have any conferences or anything coming up that you're going to be at, or you're talking about your new book that you're
The
part
new
of?
book, I don't know the name of it yet, but SHARON EBY's writing it. She was only going to have 38 researchers, but now she's up to 50.
Mm-hmm.
So it ought to be an interesting read, and you have to be an active researcher to be in this one.
That's right. That survey. I'm supposed to get a copy of that. So
yeah,
let's see.
Yeah, and I like doing the research, and like I say, anybody ever wants to go out, and feel free to email me. If you're ever in Ohio over this way, and I get a chance, we can plan to go out sometime or something. I can take you out, but the most part is I just like people to be safe and not do what I do, because I'm crazy what I do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I go out at witching hours. You know, I'm out there like 11 at night, 3 to 4 in the morning. Sometimes it's best just to sit in there and just listen. Don't do nothing, just listen. You can hear, if they're in the area, you'll hear them somewhere. They'll be doing something. A lot of times they're following the coyotes around here. If you hear the coyotes, they're usually around where the coyotes are. I don't know what the thing is with them here in Ohio, but usually if there's coyotes going off, they're following the coyotes. That's one thing they do. The dog come back.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, it's the thing about them is they're out there, and it's a real thing. It's not a hoax. Some people might want to be a hoaxer, but for real, the creatures are out here. Lucy, come on, man. But anyways, yeah, I'll tell you some stuff you can do. Is like put peanut butter on trees. Go around and bait the area with peanut butter. Like go out there early in the day where you think's a good area. Put a lot of peanut butter up on the tree, smear it, and then come back that evening. You might have some activity going on. It's worked a time or two for me. They also say deer liver is a good bait. Use some deer liver. But I don't see wasting stuff. Because I don't go hunting deer, and I don't have no deer liver, but peanut butter works. They like peanut butter. People say candy works too, but I don't
I
smoke
think it's
no
a
candy.
very strong smell that they can, peanut butter is, that you can smell from quite a distance.
That's why I do peanut butter and hot dogs and bacon. Them are also two other good baits. Hot dogs and bacon works. One time I took some bacon grease. I took an ear of corn, a cob, and I went way back on that orange trail again I was talking about. And as it makes a corner, I dropped the ear of corn on the trail, and I covered it with bacon grease. And the next morning we went through there. Guess what? The corn was missing. And you could see where this finger, I'm talking like big as two of my thumbs, scooped across there and grabbed that corn. And about 5 feet further, we found the corn where it's half eaten and thrown on the ground. The other one, there's 2 corn cobs. One was missing. Never did find it. But the one that got eaten was like partially eaten and thrown on the ground. I should have just collected it for DNA evidence, but I ain't going to worry about it. I got the picture of it to prove it, though, where you can see the finger and all that. Like I said, I do a lot of picture taking to document stuff. Throwaway cameras. That way they can't say, that's digital, that's AR. No, that's 35 millimeter. How am I going to? Unless I got a special studio, there ain't nothing doctored here. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
And another good advice for people, as soon as you get out of the car, if you're a researcher, just turn on your recorder and have it ready to go right then, because you just never know. Like I said twice, I had them scream at me. I didn't have the recorder going. Like, that's nice.
Absolutely. Definitely.
You just live and learn when you do this stuff for as long as I have. You learn all kinds of tricks, and you just go out and do your thing. Main thing I look for is stick structures, because if I find them, I know they're somewhere in the area. That's how I look for them, is stick structures. If I find one, I know they're in the area somewhere. They're within a 5-mile area, but I know they're in the area. If you're hiking along, you don't see nothing for a long time, they're probably not in the area. But if you start seeing little stick structures, then you know they're in the area. That's how I find them. I look for their stick structures. And where I'm at down in Adams County at my camp, they're all over. I find them all the time because I know they're there. I just don't bother them there. I go down the road. If I'm going to mess with them, I'll go down the road about 20 miles. And then I go by this Boy Scout camp, go up on the mountain, which I shouldn't be saying all this. And that's where I go mess with them. People know where I'm talking about. They know the area, but I doubt anybody does because you got to know where the Boy Scout camp is anyways.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know the area, you don't know where it is.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, it is coming up here on the end of the show. If you have, do you have any other events or anything coming up that you'd like to talk about or promote or anything?
No, the only thing is, I don't remember if my buddy Abe, his mnbrt, they had I don't know if they just had their conference, but yeah, they have conferences going all around. I don't travel them. I mainly will go to an Ohio one if I do, because that's mainly where I do my research in Ohio. One day I might come out. I like to come out of Wisconsin one day and check it out, actually. See what's cooking out that way, because I don't hear much from that area. It's always in Michigan or... Mm-hmm. So I don't know if many people research your area. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Where Caps is currently working on a Bigfoot documentary about the state, so it should be out next year. So,
well, that'd be good.
Yep,
that'd be cool.
I hope so. We're hard at work on that. So,
well, that's good. I like to see that. But yeah, Ohio, it's a hopping place, man. You just never know. The most recent I heard of was December 26th of last year, 15 miles west of Dayton. There's a road crossing right here on the western side of Ohio, and that was 10:15 at night. But that's the recent one I know around this area. That was in December.
Very cool, man. All right. Well, we are at the end of our show. I know Ohio is very squatchy. We have been out to Salt Forks myself and done some other locations around the state. So you have your work cut out for you, definitely. So.
Oh yeah, where I'm at down on the river, it's really squatchy. If you ever come down one go, just hit me up, brother.
I definitely will.
All right,
appreciate it, man.
Well,
all right.
Nice talking to you and chatting with you people.
You too. Absolutely, man. I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, I'm going to try to sneak in next year's Bigfoot conference here at the Salt Fork State Park. I'll just mosey around and put my name tag on, mess with people. Probably what I'll do.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be May 3rd in Ohio at Salt Forks.
Yeah, be a good one.
Awesome.
All right. Well, it's nice chatting with you, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. You take care, man.
All right, sir. We'll see you.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. It's amazing, all the cool stuff out in Ohio. Mark has been very busy, and I'm sure we're going to hear more from him down the road with all of his research and experiences and stuff. So until next time, guys, thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and leave a review on your favorite platform here on the Untold Radio Network. Tell all your friends about Monsters on the Edge and the paranormal spectrum if you're into all that stuff. So until next time, guys, I'll see you on the edge.